बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम।
अल्लाहु अकबर, अल्लाहु अकबर, अल्लाहु अकबर, अल्लाहु अकबर। अशहदु अल्ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह, अशहदु अल्ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह, अशहदु अन्ना मुहम्मदर रसूलुल्लाह, अशहदु अन्ना मुहम्मदर रसूलुल्लाह। हय्या अलस्सलाह, हय्या अलस्सलाह, हय्या अलफलाह, हय्या अलफलाह। अल्लाहु अकबर, अल्लाहु अकबर, ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह।
अशहदु अल्ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह वहदहु ला शरीका लह व अशहदु अन्ना मुहम्मदन अब्दुहु व रसूल। अम्मा बादु फ़अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम। बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम। The first verse I want to recite is from chapter 6, and it's verse 159. Hang on. 160, I beg your pardon. إن الذين فرقوا دينهم وكانوا شيعا لست منهم في شيء إنما أمرهم إلى الله ثم ينبئهم بما كانوا يفعلون. And for those who split up their religion, who divide up their religion and become sects, you do not have any concern with them. Their affair is only with Allah. And then He will inform them of what they did. The next one is chapter 30, verse 32. من الذين فرقوا دينهم وكانوا شيعا كل حزب بما لديهم فرحون. And those who split up their religion and become parties, every sect rejoicing in that which is with it. And this topic came to Sadaqallahu Aliyul Azim. And this topic came to mind when someone, a member of our Jamaat, that is Ahmadi and Manishat Islam, in their branch in Chad in Africa, sent me a video where people had collected items like blankets and things and so on, and also they were donating small amounts of money because Chad itself is a poor country, to help those who've lost everything in the recent earthquakes in Turkey and in Syria. And what a wonderful sight it was that Muslims, regardless of which group they belong to, which sect they belong to, they were all joining hands to help people in Turkey and in Syria. And it brought to mind these verses of the Holy Quran. And then you will say, well, do these verses mean that we shouldn't disagree with each other? Should it be, if we were talking about politics, a one-party state like we see in some countries, that you have only one party and no one else is allowed to have a dissenting opinion? That is not the case because, for a start, sect means a group of people who not only disagree with others, but also say that these are the fundamental beliefs, and anyone who doesn't believe in these things is consigned to hell. Or in political terms, for example, when politicians disagree with each other in some countries, they will say he's a traitor. Why is he a traitor? He just has a different view of what should be done to progress his country. And this belongs to charities and groups of people and religious groups as well. Splitting up the religion means that you separate your places of worship. You do not interact with each other. For example, we belong to Ahmadi and Manishat Islam. We are also called Lahori Ahmadis and so on. And in some countries, if we were to try and go into a mosque, we'll be beaten up and thrown out. In fact, in some countries, if you try to say the praise in our own mosque and people found out, they'll come and they'll set the fire on mosque and they'll try and kill us and beat us and so on. That is splitting up the religion, which is the inability of people to tolerate another point of view. If you disagree with someone, that is not creating a sect. People have been disagreeing with each other since creation, by creation of man. Do you think that the companions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they didn't disagree with the Holy Prophet, or they didn't disagree with each other? Of course they did. We have many examples, such as at the time of Badr, the Muslims marched out of Medina to defend it because they heard the Quraysh were coming to attack it. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam arranged his army at Badr in a certain way. And a companion, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, went to him and said, "O Prophet of Allah, have you done this by Allah's command or by your own judgment?" And the Holy Prophet said, "Well, it's my own judgment." And the companion then said, "Well, I think a better way to arrange the army to face the enemy would be if we did this. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad said to him, "Why?" And this gentleman gave his reasons. The Holy Prophet said, "Right, you're absolutely correct." He didn't say, "I'm the Prophet of Allah. God has raised me to bring you to the right path. Who are you to disagree with me?" And sorry, there's someone ringing on WhatsApp. Yes, as I was saying, the Holy Prophet didn't say, "I'm the Prophet of Allah. He speaks to me, he doesn't speak to you. Who are you to correct me?" But he listened to the person. And he found that the suggestion this guy had given was correct. So he said, "Okay." And he rearranged the army. At the time of Uhud, the next battle, when Muslims heard that Quraysh had were marching on Medina, the Holy Prophet gathered all the Muslims in the Prophet's mosque. And he said, "What should we do?" And the Holy Prophet ﷺ wanted to stay in Medina and fight a defensive battle. But the majority, and there were people who agreed with him, but the majority said, "No, we are going to march out of Medina and give battle in the open. And because the majority said that, the Holy Prophet accepted that. Again, he didn't say, "I'm the Prophet of Allah. How dare you disagree with me," and so on. Because these people said, if we stayed in Medina just to defend it, this will make us look like cowards. And we are not cowards, we are brave. We are going to go out and face the enemy in open field. But the point is that the Holy Prophet listened to the majority. He didn't say to them, "You are disagreeing with me, so from tomorrow, or when we come back from the battle, you will not be allowed to enter the mosque of the Prophet." That is what would have created a sect. Intolerance, refusal to listen to another person's point of view. In fact, at Uhud, towards the end of the battle, when the enemy had retreated, the Holy Prophet had positioned a platoon, let's say, to defend the rear of the army. And that platoon, seeing the enemy fleeing the field, left their position, thinking that the battle was over and Muslims were attacked from the rear. But what did the Holy Prophet do? Did he ban them from entering the mosque for disobeying him? Did he put them in prison? In today's term, that platoon would have been court-martialed and shot to death. But he didn't. The Holy Quran says, okay, they made a mistake. They're human beings. Forgive them. Let them come back to the community and, and consult them in various matters and so on. A sect is created when you become intolerant, when you refuse to listen to another person's point of view, when you refuse to let them into your mosque. In jurisprudence, we have 4 schools of jurisprudence: Hanafi and Maliki and Shafi and Hanbali. Why? Because on certain points, some great scholar was asked his opinion, and he gave his opinion. Another time, another scholar was asked his opinion about the same thing, and he gave a different opinion. This is how these 4 schools of jurisprudence came into being. Some people prefer the fatwas or decisions handed down by Imam Malik, they follow him. Some by Imam Abu Hanifa, they follow him. But it doesn't mean to say that they shouldn't interact together. You see, the Holy Quran says, don't have any concern with people who split religion. And this example that I'm about to give will show you what it means. 2 of these imams that I just mentioned, they were on earth at the same time. And one was in Cairo, the other one was somewhere else. And they disagreed on some point about Salat, a particular Salat. I don't remember the details and so on. And the Imam who lived away from Cairo went to Cairo. I think Imam Malik was in Cairo. And when people heard that he was coming, they were very keen. And Imam Malik invited this other Imam who disagreed with him to lead the prayers in his mosque. And when people heard that, they turned up in large numbers. They turned up in large numbers. But this Imam led the prayer, led the Salat in exactly the same way as Imam Malik. And people were astonished, and they said to him after the prayer, we thought you disagreed. And Imam Malik, and the guest Imam said, yes, I do. And they said, hang on, but you prayed in the same way as Imam Malik. Now look at their attitude. Imam Malik knows this Imam disagrees with him about how to say a certain salah. And yet he invites them to lead the prayers. Does it happen now? Now people don't even let others into their mosques. Shias don't go into Sunni mosques. Sunnis don't go into Shia mosques. So how are you going to become strong if that's your attitude? And the guest Imam showed courtesy to Imam Malik by leading the praise in the same way as this person. And the reason he gave was that it would have been disrespectful to lead the prayer the way I think it should be led, when my host had invited me to lead the prayer in his mosque. Do we see that now? No, we don't. And God says, don't have any concern with them. This is what Hazrat Mirza Sahib said when he said to Ahmadis that, look, Deobandis are fighting Barelvis and Barelvis are fighting Ahl Hadith, and they're calling each other kafir, and Shias are calling Sunnis kafir, and Sunnis are calling Shias kafir. Separate yourself. Just have your own strong group. And he said, if they let you in their mosque and they don't call you a kafir, pray with them. But if they call you a kafir, don't pray with them. Keep separate, keep away. But if they come to your mosque to say their prayer, you're not allowed to stop them. You see, this is how religion becomes strong, by showing tolerance. And this is what is missing. People in Chad, they don't care about the sect or the subsect of people in Turkey. They don't even care about the religion of people in Turkey. And they collected together blankets and other things, as well as money, and sent it so that people in Turkey and Syria could get some relief. Forget about Chad. In UK, over one weekend, 65 million pounds were raised. This is cash, in addition to blankets and warm clothing and so on that people sent to Turkey and Syria. 65 million pounds. Were they all donated by Muslims? No. General population, Christians and Jews and Hindus and Sikhs and Muslims as well. But what is our attitude? Our attitude is this, that, there were floods and an earthquake in Pakistan. And a Hindu doctor working at Wexham Park Hospital in Slough, he told me this. He said he took, I think, a month's leave without pay to go and help in Pakistan. And he arrived and he was put with this group to go into small villages and outlying areas and so on, to find people who need medical assistance and so on. And he said he was shocked. He was shocked that the leader of that group, when they arrived somewhere, he would say to people that they had gone to help, prove you're a Muslim, recite the kalima. If you prove you're a Muslim, we'll give you food. If you prove you're a Muslim, we'll give you medical aid. If you don't, then you don't deserve any. The 65 million pounds raised in this country, the people who gave that money, did they ask that question? No. They just saw human beings in distress and they want to help. And the Holy Quran says, start with a group that does not divide humanity, that people don't hate each other for various reasons. Love them and care for them and help them when help is needed. And then you will be successful. And I was giving the example of our own group, Lahori Ahmadis as we are called. And this part of the verse, those who split their religion don't have any concern with them. Why? And we've seen this in our group. Because we say Islam is one religion, many Lahori Ahmadi girls were married to non-Ahmadis, generally Sunnis, and the other way around. But what would happen? As soon as that girl would arrive in her in-laws' house, they would start taunting her, humiliating her, insulting her for being a Lahori Ahmadi. Is this how you show your moral character to other people? Should the people who donated the 65 million pounds, should they have said exactly the same thing? This does nothing but damage Islam. When we ran the Shah Jahan Mosque in Woking on one Eid, when Imam was about to lead the prayers, a Shia mujtahid, Shia scholar from the back shouted, "I don't say my prayers behind Sunnis." And our Imam turned round and he said, "But do you consider Sunnis to be Muslims?" And he said, "Yes, but I still don't pray behind them." And the Imam said, "In that case, please come forward and lead the prayers. We will pray behind you. We will pray behind you." And for the first time in history, probably, all Muslim sects prayed together. Lahori Ahmadis and Sunnis and Wahhabis and Barelvis and Deobandis and Ahle Hadith and whatever else you've got. They all prayed together behind this Shia Imam. That Shia Imam was intolerant. But because he considered everyone who recites the kalima to be a Muslim, our Imam said, "That's fine. That's the only condition that is needed, that you don't call anyone a heretic or a kafir. Come lead the prayers." It is sad that that example wasn't followed later on. And we lost control of the that mosque, etc. But that's another story. And if we keep our religion split so that we are intolerant with each other, then we'll continue to suffer. We will not make any progress. You can make whatever speeches and you can dream whatever dreams you want, but natural law shows. Let's take the example of a family. You know, one brother is, let's say, rich, one brother is poor, for whatever reasons. If the rich brother helps the poor brother, then they'll both be fine. But if the rich brother says, "Well, what's he done for me? Why should I help him? I worked hard. I didn't waste my money. This is why I'm rich. He wastes his money. This is why he's poor. I'm not going to help him. I'm not going to give him food. I'm not going to do anything for him." As an individual, that rich brother may progress. But as a family, do you think they'll progress? Supposing you're in a country where education is not free and school fees have to be paid for the poor brother's children. And the rich brother refuses to do that. He only does it for his family. That means only half of the family will progress, materially speaking. Half will be consigned to the lowest levels of society. And this is a law of nature. You cannot go against that. And this is what the Quran is referring to. And those who split up their religion and become sects don't have any contact with it. And that's the reason why. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Quranil Azim wa nafa'ana wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim. Innahu ta'ala jawadun kareemun malikun barraufur rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma ansur man nasara dina Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam waj'alna minhum wakhzul man khazala dina Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa la taj'alna minhum ibadallah rahmukumullah innallaha ya'muru bil adli wal ihsani wa ita'i zil qurba wa yanha 'anil fahsya'i wal munkari wal baghi ya'izukum la'allakum tadhakkarun. واذكروا الله يذكركم ويستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. Ready? Yep. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah, qad qamatis salat, qad qamatis salat. Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين
آمين.
إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا الله أكبر سمع الله لمن حمده
ربنا
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد الله أكبر الله أكبر
سمع الله لمن حمده.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله أستغفر الله سلام Thank you for joining us for our project prayer. Those of you who might be puzzled by the third Siddha, it was because I made a mistake, and that is called the Siddha prostration of seeking forgiveness for the error you've made. Our next broadcast, inshallah, will be on Monday at 7 p.m., which will be Tadabbarul Quran, and that will be followed by the English reflections on the Holy Quran. And hopefully we'll go back to our regular broadcasts, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, as we used to. In the meantime, I request you to do whatever you can for everyone in Turkey and Syria and those places, that God may ease their burdens and provide some means of support for them. Until we meet again, I pray that Allah keeps everyone safe and sound and free from harm. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and goodbye.